thank you. Right, tears, tantrums and full-on bust-ups. Just another weekend on The X Factor.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
It's so nice to see that cheeky chap coming out.
I should be sleeping,
I think you've been an absolute delight.
but when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright.
Won't you please, please help me?
It was absolutely genius.
Something in the way he moves.
Mary's got her mojo back. Yes!
Right here with all the latest from The X Factor. Jeff Brazer is here. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Well, we have been talking about Wagner all morning.
Yes.
And saying what we think. So, inside info. I mean, what's... Can you shed any light on this?
Yeah, managed to collate a few bits from a few different people, but from the inside, this is what they're saying, is that he's bullish but not rude. Matt and he going nose to nose, as they allegedly did, was like the clashing of two alpha males. That's the situation with that. Obviously, they're all under a lot of pressure, but people deal with pressure in certain ways. He's a little bit older, so he doesn't maybe deal with it as tactfully as others. So when, like us typical Brits, we can fluff around sometimes. When he wants something or needs to ask something, he's quite direct, and that can obviously be seen as rude. But
Is he staying somewhere else, though? He's not in the house?
he's in a hotel sort of outside Wembley in Hertfordshire.
And do we
somewhere.
know why that happened? Because in the papers over the weekend, it was saying, oh, he's had another bust-up with One Direction.
Yeah, he's fed up, and so are they. But I kind of, you'd almost predict that, because he's over 50, he's living in a house with teenagers that are probably not very tidy, not very quiet, and you can imagine that's so far removed from his normal day-to-day life that I can imagine he would want a little bit of peace and quiet.
And what about this situation with Cheryl and what happened across the studio floor on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, he allegedly made comments in the bar of this hotel which were leaked to the press. So obviously when it goes into that domain, it can be twisted slightly. But Cheryl was so upset, and I think it follows criticism that she took, again, allegedly from Julian McDonald, a fashion designer. She didn't have a very good week. She just decided to use the show to basically pull him up on it, and it might have been better if she did it.
I mean, you look at his
backstage.
face there. He looks... let's have a listen to what he says.
I didn't know the guy was a journalist, but when he asked, what do you think of Cher? He said, Cheryl is a role model for the young people in this nation, because I believe she perhaps lived in a council estate, and so many people who live in a council estate, they don't believe that they can achieve a better standard of living, but because you are incredibly talented, beautiful, and have the manners of a princess, you are now the most famous woman in the country.
Well, you can't say fairer than that, can you?
He represented himself perfectly well. So again, there's
That's kept him in for at least another 2 weeks.
I think a lot of people would have voted for Wagner off the back of that, and I think Cher might have lost a few votes, because when you think of Cheryl as a mentor, the first person that you think of in her category is probably Cher, because she's a mini Cheryl. So maybe that did cost her a few. That and the stairs.
Must have come as quite a shock to Cher, I think, to be in the bottom two. I mean, I was very surprised. I mean, she's one of the sorts of big hitters in the competition. At the beginning, one everybody was talking about, and now to be in the bottom two, I mean, that's quite a shock, right?
Yeah, we all assumed that Katie would be in the bottom two again. She's been down there 4 times in a row, but she sang beautifully on Saturday. For me, it's the best performance. Not everyone agrees with me. But yeah, Cher, they didn't like her performance that much. Imagine that she sang was not actually a
It's not actually a Beatles song, is it? Imagine.
But no one, usually Louis first to pick up on that and sort of get himself in there, but nobody did.
So what they also seem to let Simon get away with, the fact that he went on and on and on and on about this staircase, yet once again he put One Direction on a lot of Perspex boxes. Yeah,
which Cheryl rightly pulled him up on. So it's tit for tat. And I mean, the judges have been like that for weeks and weeks. And I think they are just violent. They can see now that nobody's necessarily safe and that they need to maybe put in a few words to help their act along.
Are you about to ask me about One Direction?
Yeah, go on.
I love them so much. I literally adore them.
What kind of love, though, Holly?
They just make me so happy. Like, the moment they come out and sing, I'm so excited that they're about to sing. And now that's it. I mean, I love Matt. and I love Rebecca, but for me, it's One Direction all the way.
So which one do you fancy the most?
I can't fancy any of them because obviously I'm way too old for
Harry
that sort of
checked you
shenanigans.
out, though, didn't he? He did. He checked.
A little bit, maybe.
Did you blush?
I did, yes.
Yeah, your legs went.
No.
That's the boy band effect.
No. Move on. I can't talk about it. It's too weird.
Rebecca, let's talk about Rebecca.
Yes.
Rebecca, I think she is so classy.
Me and you both, but it wasn't her best week. It was her turn to...
Maybe because she was singing a Beatles song and she's from Liverpool, do you think she felt the pressure a little bit?
Extra added pressure, so you give her a dues for that. But she just didn't sound as commanding and as sort of comfortable with it as she usually is.
Just for me, let's have a little listen.
To stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
You saw it in her eye at that moment. Oh, she thought that wasn't right.
Yeah, not quite right.
Yeah, it's like, ouch.
Yeah.
You know, you see that expression in their face.
Mary came back, didn't she, this week? She was fantastic, I thought.
She did. A lot of people had, a lot of columnists in the papers today had her as the best performance. Mary always, except for that one bad week, gives the same consistent level of performance, but I don't think it'll be enough for her to win it.
Okay.
And also, we thought that Katie had an interesting new look.
Yeah, I liked it. I think she looked good. I think she performed really, really well. I just enjoyed her performance.
Oh, I'm not sure.
And do you know what? It's week 7. This is the first time I've ever felt sorry for her. All the things that she's chucked in and all of the press that's probably come from her. But now, obviously, her nan has been alleged to have been revealed as a
Don't you know when you
prostitute.
go, can it get any worse
No.
for
Well,
one girl?
I read this in the paper this morning, and if what we read is true, you couldn't make this
it
up.
No.
Katie's 81-year-old grandmother works as a secret £250 an hour hooker at a flat in sheltered accommodation.
Nanny Vogel.
Do it.
I can't. Do you know what? I can't even hear
The
that.
sprightly Gran is thought to be the oldest vice girl in Britain.
With clients in their 20s.
So, you can't... Well, there's nothing more to be
Nothing
said.
can
is there?
surprise
Don't
you
say
about
any
the
more,
X
it gives me
Factor
an
or those
instant
on it.
headache.
I know.
Jeff, thank you. Paige is going to be here after the break, which
I know,
is all very
good man.
exciting, so we'll ask him lots of stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, as said, Paige is here after the break.